Good morning, super entrepreneurs. How are you all doing today on this Monday? I really need to change the air conditioning timer. It's set to turn on at 10 a.m. and now I can't turn it off from my phone. Great. Anyway, I'm Super Joe Pardo, in case you did not know that. And this is the EntrepreNEWS 5-day-a-week show where we discuss the topics that are buzzing around the internet, and we're going to break them down into entrepreneur news. EntrepreNEWS. Today we are talking about the McRib is back. Scarlett Johansson and Disney settle their Black Widow lawsuit. Whole Foods founder John Mackey will step down as CEO. We're going to talk about NFTs, and we'll talk about those last, so stick around for that. If you're a business that needs workers, you should try this trick that apparently, according to a bunch of studies, would help get you more employees. And I have some thoughts on how you could go about doing that. Little update on the Evergrande story. Apparently, it's a day of reckoning for Carmax, which sells used cars. If you're not familiar with Carmax, well, the NFTs will be last, but the Blue Origin open letter that came out talking about a toxic work environment, sexism in the workplace, and disregard for safety measures over at Blue Origin. So I wanted to address some of that. But I know what you all came here for, because you saw the thumbnail, which was the McRib is back. Now, I've never actually had a McRib myself, and that will probably change this time around. Now, I was not aware that the McRib, last time it showed up was 8 years ago. The first time the sandwich was sold nationally was 2012. The last time the McRib was made its limited run was 2020. And prior to December, sandwich was sold for a limited time, October 2019. Now, I guess I must live in one of the areas, in the outside of the Philly area, where it is available on the regular, or at least somewhat regular. But yeah, it's going to be in a time where supply chain crises are occurring. This is incredible that they were able to pull off getting the McRib available for everyone nationwide. So I'm looking forward to trying it this time. I don't generally eat at McDonald's. I don't know if you eat at McDonald's. I would love for you to give some, I want to hear about it down below in the comments. But I know that people love their McRib sandwiches, and I don't know. I mean, I like prime rib if that's what if that's what it is. But yeah, so I wanted to bring up the story because limited time offers are a great way to keep it fresh. One of my favorite fast food chains, one of America's favorite fast food chains, is Taco Bell, and they regularly have the $5 box, which hasn't been fallen victim to stagflation or inflation just yet. But they keep that going regularly. And look, when it comes to the food that they have, it's, meat, cheese, and meat, cheese, and vegetables, and in different orders. But keeping the limited edition or limited time offers coming through enables your customers to have a reason to keep coming back. Another favorite place of mine is a ice cream shop that every week to every month, I think it's every week. Well, sometimes they have one a month. They have like the special Sunday that they offer, but then they also have like a weekend special. Oh, excuse me. They have like a weekend special. So like on a specific weekends, holiday weekends, they offer up these special Sundays that might include like cake or pie or something bread pudding that's incorporated into that sundae. So incorporating limited time offers into your offering is a great way to keep people interested and to give you another marketing aspect to your business that is also a revenue generator. So you're not just talking about the same stuff over and over and over again. You're actively talking about something that is new and different and a something that could bring people in. So that is so it's pretty cool that the McRib is back. And like I said, I guess I will try it. People really, I don't go to McDonald's. I think the last time I was at McDonald's was, I don't even know. And I have one up the corner from my house, and I just never really go to it. Scarlett Johansson and Disney settle the Black Widow mess. I have not been a fan of the way that Disney handled it. I think they should have figured out a way early on to just say, yeah, you know what, we don't have to get this we just don't have to go to court. You don't have to actually sue us. Let's get this straightened out. So the key points here: Marvel's star Scarlett Johansson, also known as Black Widow, says settled to the breach of contract lawsuit the Black Widow actor brought against the studio back in July. The explosive suit claimed that Disney had breached Johansson's contract when it released Black Widow on its streaming service, Disney Plus, at the same time as it debuted in theaters, and terms of the deal that they reached were not disclosed. So, why I think this story deserved to be brought up here. I am firmly in the camp of, is it really worth making somebody who has done a ton of business with you, has helped build, even if it's a smaller role in a extremely profitable franchise. From my understanding, it was $20 million that she was looking in damages. I'm sure they settled probably for a lot less than that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I think Disney should have just did the right thing. I think that this is kind of a stain on Bob Chapek's tenure there. I'm a huge Disney fan. I got Mr. Fredrickson back here behind me, and it should not have been allowed or enabled to get this far, where it becomes a problem. So I wish that Disney had just handled it the way that they should have out of the gate, and not had to go and have this whole lawsuit come out about them. There was a quote here. So it says, "I'm very pleased that we have been able to come to a mutual agreement with Scarlett Johansson regarding Black Widow," said Disney Studios chairman Alan Bergman in a statement. "We appreciate her contributions to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and look forward to working together on a number of upcoming projects, including Disney's Tower of Terror." Well, that's all. That all sounds warm and fuzzy, and hopefully Scarlett Johansson will decide to continue to work and be a valued member of the team. But yeah, it just doesn't. Let's see. I'm happy to. It goes on to say, "I'm happy to have resolved our differences with Disney." Johansson said in a statement, "I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done together over the years. And have greatly enjoyed my creative relationship with the team. I look forward to continuing our collaboration in years to come." Yeah, it was, and she be paid, BEE, paid $20 million for the film already. An attempt to make her appear to be someone they and I know she isn't. Yeah, I think that's one of the key things here is it's not a good look for anybody involved. It leaves a very bad taste in the mouth of people who want to be involved with Disney, who want to feel like they're going to be heard and that they're going to be taken care of and that contracts will be honored. And I get it, right? Like the changes happen. Changes happen all the time. Like with especially with the pandemic, and like things are changing, rules are changing. and all over the place. So I get Disney's decision to not put it into theaters at the time in which they needed it to go live, or they did put it in theaters, but it was also on streaming. But more consideration should have been given to the contracts in which they had, instead of just making. I mean, it's not like they just woke up at one day and was like, "Hey, like let's just release this movie and tomorrow," and stuff's done in advance, and I think that's the key thing is, like, when you're putting out your putting together, making a decision in your company, in your business. Are you making that decision with all the key factors in mind, and the bad press or bad PR that potentially could come because you didn't consider the lead star in your movie, their contract, and whether or not that was going to be a thing? So I think there's more of a black eye on Bob Chapek at the end of the day than Scarlett Johansson, who I really believe she was in the right to want to defend a contract. I mean, a contract's only as good as well as you're willing to uphold and defend it. Remember that for any contracts you're entering in, and yeah. So I think. I think that I will be excited to see her continue to do work, and hopefully excited to see Disney honor their contracts going forward. Speaking of honoring, John Mackey of Whole Foods, the founder, is stepping down as CEO. Now, I was not that familiar with John Mackey. I personally have never, I think I've shopped in a Whole Foods once or twice in my life. John Mackey has been, he co-founded Whole Foods back in 1980 down in Austin, Texas. And Amazon bought the company, as many of you know, in 2017. The chief operating officer, COO, Jason Bushell, maybe that's how you say it, will replace Mackey in September of 2022. So it's going to be a long road, for a change of power over the course of a year. I wanted to highlight this story about John because I guess this is that a picture of John Mackey? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I wanted to highlight this story because the passion that one must have to start your business, operate it for a number of years, and then sell your business and continue to work in your business. Now, that sometimes is an option for some businesses when they sell to be able to take on a role. Usually it's not continuing on as CEO, but in a role that enables them to be in a managerial position or like a regional or a COO position of those operations in which you ran for a number of years. I know when we sold the Pardo truck parts, the red hat behind me, when that was sold, there was some consulting positions that were offered, and that's it. They, the company that bought it is a multi-billion-dollar company, so they didn't need or really want somebody to stay on. And because we had so many locations with managers and leadership in place at those locations, they didn't really need it. They were able to roll a lot of those locations into their current offering and their current management system that they had already placed. So for John to have the passion to continue to work for 5 years, going on 6 years, as the active CEO of the company of Whole Foods, I just want to give him. I'll give him a ding ding. I'm sure at that point he had already made tons of money. He made tons of money with the sale, and decided I don't want to retire. I don't want to go speak. I don't want to do. I'm sure he's going to go do something after this. But it's just awesome to see that people. When people are so passionate about the thing that they've, put their life and blood and sweat, tears, family, everything into, and then still want to be there, still want to show up every day and run and help guide the company. That is awesome. And I think now with Whole Foods, I mean, they've had their issues over the years. What was it, that asparagus water that was like $10 or something? They've had their own share of issues over the years. But speaking of issues, an open letter from former and current Blue Origin employees accuses Jeff Bezos of sacrificing safety in an effort to win the billionaire space race and creating a toxic, sexist work culture along the way. So here's some of the key points, right? An open letter says former and current Blue Origin employees believe the company sacrificed safety. A former Blue Origin communications head said Jeff Bezos fostered a toxic and sexist work culture. Blue Origin said it would investigate the harassment claims and maintains its rockets are safe. Well, of course they're going to do that. There's plenty of reasons that this could happen, but when I was reading through the article, I was wondering, like, where is what kind of things were being said, right? So the letter accused another unnamed executive of often referring to women by derogatory names like baby girl and baby doll. It said female employees often warned one another to avoid these executives. That is incredible. I can't even. It's hard for me to fathom that people would feel the need or the audacity, the power to say things like that, really to anybody, but to females in a workplace. That is disheartening at best, and like just completely disastrous, and makes my heart sink that people would have to feel like that in the workplace. It kind of makes me wonder or wish that maybe this letter should have came out a little sooner, maybe like around the time when Blue Origin was like, when Jeff went up in the rocket. It would have been nice to see that then, though some people might just say, oh no, that's just that they're just trying to take away from what's going on. And I mean, like I said, it goes on to talk about how there's safety measures that are being kind of skirted and sacrificed along the way because of Jeff Bezos's desire to be in that billionaire space race, along with Elon Musk and Richard Branson. So. Here you go. Abrams separately told CBS in an interview that in 2018, one team had documented more than 1,000 safety concerns with the rockets that power Blue Origin's missions. I mean, that's a lot, but I think that there, when you're talking about things that like haven't been done by private companies, and we're talking about 2018, so. Jeff just went up in the rocket this year, so it's been a while since then. It makes me wonder if, of course, there's things, safety concerns that are going to come up. So I don't know how legit that aspect of it is, and I also wonder if any lawsuits have or will be coming up about it. So. I look forward to tracking this letter and watching the Blue Origin and how it may or may not work out for Jeff there. So if your business is in need of workers, what can you do? So this one article brought up I guess it was some surveys that were done. And found that workers right now are looking for childcare, right? Where can they send their kids that'll be safe? Because especially as companies want to bring their employees back under one roof, et cetera, et cetera. Where can those kids go? It's one of the real aspects of, or great aspects of being, well, great and blessing and a curse to working from home and being there and having your children present and watching them. So this article talks about, I think that in this video, oh yeah, they talked they had the chart up here. So childcare is unaffordable. All parents agree, 44%, and working parents, 39% agree that it is very expensive. Childcare is very expensive. It is not cheap. Now, my thought process to this is if you're having trouble, depending on where you're at, and you're able to maybe bring other businesses in your building, in your wherever you're located, right? If like a facility, what was it? Like a park. I can't think of it. Like an industrial park or a commercial park or an office park where you have lots of different offices. Maybe that's an opportunity for you to pull the resources with a bunch of the other neighboring businesses and get some childcare together. Obviously, it's going to be a lot for one company to take on, and if you're a small to medium business, that might not work out, or you might only have a couple of people that have children that their concern is getting that childcare, right? So I think the opportunity there is to like think outside the box. If you're really having trouble getting people to come and work for you, try to get yourself a bunch of other businesses, pull the money together, pull the kids together, so that you have enough kids to make it worth, hiring childcare and dedicating a space to it and doing some investment for it. So offer it as an incentive to pay a portion of the bill for childcare, something to that effect. Because when you talk about money and things like that, it's just like one more benefit that you can add to the package of things that you offer and can get done for your team. So I would absolutely look at if this is a problem on your end, if you feel or you talk to people like, hey, I'd love to come back to work, but like I can't send my kid to school right now, depending on where you're at. This might be an opportunity for you to say, like, let's jump into action. Let's get you some money to get them into to professional childcare, or build our own childcare solution with some other businesses in our community here. The Evergrande crisis. So there was a specific piece of this. So that we talked about yesterday on the EntrepreNEWS, so it says this is 4 questions that explain why China's property market, which is twice as big as America's, and where 20% of homes are empty, matters. A piece of thing, like something that came to mind is so they have 1.6 million homes. I guess apartments or homes, Evergrande does, that need bodies. They're incomplete homes that they cannot sell, and they're having trouble getting the concrete, the lumber, the everything they need to get the job done and move on to the next one. And that's one of the reasons they're having such a big problem right now. So when you think about how this could affect us here in the U.S., and you look at, okay, so it's a 1.6 million completed homes. If they default and they go bankrupt and they do not deliver those 1.6 million homes, the problem there is when you compare that to the foreclosed homes, is as a visible sign of today's housing crisis back in 2009. In 2006, at least one, let's see, the United States, the number of homes in the United States with at least one foreclosure filing increased from 717,000 to, which was 0.6% of all housing units, to 2.3 million in 2008. And this is from an article that was 1.8%. This article was written in May of 2009. So that small percentage of American homes going foreclosed created such a vacuum for not just our economy here, but the world economy. So when you compare the 2.3 million that foreclosed in 2008 just to the 1.6 million that aren't being completed, not to mention all the other aspects of Evergrande's business, the vacuum that will create could be very catastrophic, not just for China. If it's catastrophic for China, it's going to be catastrophic for literally the rest of the world that does their manufacturing primarily in China. So it actually is a bigger deal, and it doesn't seem, I have not seen that China is prepared to bail them out at all. So, which kind of could be a huge problem for everybody else, because if they're not, these people aren't able to get their homes, they're not able to go to work. You talk about shortages. This could be this could end up being a huge ripple effect through the economy, through the rest of the world. And so that was the primary thing I wanted to bring up about Evergrande today, as we get hopefully closer to a solution. As I mentioned yesterday on the EntrepreNEWS, they are selling some of their, stock in their business, like $1.5 billion, which was only going to be enough to cover the interest, so they could basically buy another day. So I very, very, very scary times ahead if China doesn't do something about it. But it might be in our interest to do something about, and help in some way, shape, or form as well, so it does not crumble around them and ultimately crumble around us. So, a day of reckoning for Carmax. Carmax results reveal the used car industry is not immune to global issues plaguing the market today. Not only are the rising costs digging into the bottom line, but there is the omnipresent issue of the global semiconductor shortage. So, this is not news to anybody, right? But this talks specifically to Carmax, which, if you're not familiar, Carmax is a huge used car dealership here in the state. I don't know if they're in other countries, but they are huge in the States here. And it looks like Carmax had a truly outstanding quarter in which revenue grew 48.8% over last year, to set a company record of $7.99 billion with a B. This beat the consensus by over 1,500 basis points and is supported by robust demand in the wholesale channels. The company reported 19.9% increase in total units sold, with a 6.7% increase in retail units sold and a 41.8% increase in wholesale units sold. So it sounds like everything's going gangbusters, but the problem, so this says the analysts the analyst consensus sentiment for Carmax is bullish, but we think there are some changes soon. There is yet to be any analyst comments since the release of the report, but the price action says everything. Carmax price action fell more than 10% to below the current MarketBeat.com consensus estimate, with $134 set to with $134, and set to stock up for a much deeper decline. The price action is confirming resistance at the short term moving average that we see, taking the stock down to firmer support levels. So all this to say that while while the used car industry was able to prop itself up for a while there, and increasing prices through inflation has been great. I mean, when you look at inflation across the board, the used car market and car market and used car market in general has been propping that up through the pandemic. As far, I think it was like something like 60 to 80% of the considered inflation across the entire economy was loaned or blamed on blamed was or I'm sorry, because of used car prices being so inflated, because of the fact that there's a chip shortage, because they can't get those cars. Because, I mean, if you haven't seen, what was it? I think down in, was it Tennessee or Alabama or something like that, the racetrack down there, Ford was just parking trucks. Like, they just literally, it's like somebody took a drone shot like 3 days or 3 or 4 drone shots. And it's just like that racetrack got progressively more and more full with trucks that just needed a chip that they could not get because of the shortage. And I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of these types of things. We've talked about this yesterday on the EntrepreNEWS about shortages and so many other things coming down the pike. And it's not shortages like the toilet paper shortage of the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. It is because of the fact that it's so expensive to get things over here now. So expensive that big businesses, the Targets, Walmarts, they're chartering their own boats, which is kind of a mess in and of itself. But that's because they need, there's so less amount of boats coming across the water, the ocean, to deliver things. So, I think that we're going to see a lot more things as if the pandemic, might be subsiding here again, here in America. A lot of our stuff is not produced here, so it's not shipped from here. So we need the people who are shipping and creating and crafting, manufacturing these things. We need them to not have a pandemic of their own, so that we can get things back in line. And we still might be sitting here for a while, getting these shortages. From everything I've been reading, the chip shortage probably won't be better in 2022, but we might start to see some signs by like third quarter, fourth quarter. But I think that even then it's still a crapshoot, in the sense that if we have shipping problems, it's still, because the boat takes, I don't know what, like a couple weeks to a month to get here, depending on where it's coming from, and then get offloaded and like go through customs and all stuff. So it's like the rubber, it's a rubber band effect that could take a while for us to work through. So I wanted to talk about NFTs. I know I've had hinted at doing a video about this for a while. I am not getting in the NFT business. I currently do not own any NFTs, but I had this question. I was trying to understand, like, you're buying something, but you don't own it, or you do own it, and I should be like doing copyright lawsuits to people who are utilizing the thing that I just spent, potentially thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on. And I could not understand the value in it. So I've watched a bunch of videos. I mean, obviously I have friends that are in it. I have friends that understand it better than I do or did. But after doing enough research, I wanted to give this is the simpleton version of it. Because again, when people say, "Oh, they bought," you see on the news, like the articles, "Oh, the NBA is selling NFTs now," and it's like LeBron James dunking the basketball, and it's like it's a video of him dunking the basketball, and it's like, well, does the NBA still own that? Does he own that? Who owns this? What are you actually owning? So upon doing a lot more research, basically what NFTs come down to is you're owning it on the blockchain. And if you don't know what the blockchain is, it's the technology that runs cryptocurrency and utilizes a mass network of computers to verify the transactions that happen between people. And when it comes to NFTs, it's kind of like buying a piece of artwork. But in this case, according to the articles that I was reading about it, the rights are actually still owned by the original artist. You are only buying it on the blockchain. So if you think about it, kind of like, so the way I think I best could explain it is kind of like buying a stock. So if you were buying cryptocurrency like on Coinbase or something to that effect, and you're like, I really like this picture. I want to own it. You're kind of owning it in the sense that you're buying it as a quote unquote token, or as I would equate it to, like a stock, or an original painting, right? But you don't actually, like, just because you buy that painting doesn't mean that you own the physical painting, but you don't own the rights to make copies of that painting, right? So that's the thing that I think I personally was getting really hung up on. It's like, why would you spend $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 on a picture of a cat with a dinosaur tail, right? Or a penguin or something like that? And the reason from my understanding, is that it's an opportunity for you to take your money and put it into something that can be valued higher at a later date. Sure, the money will be, the Ethereum, the Bitcoin, the Dogecoin, to the moon. All these things could be worth more, but think about it in this, like if you think about like a stock market, you're basically taking a chunk of your money that will fluctuate, hopefully go to the moon at some point, and you're investing it into one, like a token effectively, or a stock that there is only one of on the blockchain. So you're virtually owning this piece of artwork. Now, is it a good idea to do it? Is it, you see all the people, you see the headlines, people making, ridiculous amounts of money on NFTs and all that, going back to, I think April, it was enabled on the Ethereum blockchain. I don't know. To me, it's a gamble. I don't think it's a scam. I think that it's just a way to tie, if you already have a bunch of Ethereum, if you already have a bunch of, well, I guess I think it's only on the Ethereum blockchain. So if you own a bunch of Ethereum, or you own, you have a bunch of money and you want to tie it up in an asset that is literally a PNG file, it could work. It also could go to nothing. Because in the real world here, it's not a physical painting, but in the virtual world, you are effectively buying a painting, which I guess is the explanation for why, you could, in theory, buy a painting for $100 million, and like you're tying up that money, into one asset, and the value, because there's so few of them, it should go up. And that's the idea. But I don't necessarily know. I can't give you a definitive answer if I think that it will actually be a worthwhile investment in the long term. I think if you have a bunch of Ethereum already, like if you're a miner or you've already invested a bunch of your cash into cryptocurrencies, it might be a way. It might be a way to, like, you've already tied up the money, let's put it into an asset, and then, but there is something else that you should know, is that with NFTs, the original creator is potentially going to get a cut of whatever you sell that NFT for when you inevitably go to sell, before it goes, the whole thing goes to zero, if it ever goes to zero. But you want to make, so you want to make sure that you know what the contract reads on that NFT, so that, it's like, oh, cool, I bought this thing for $5,000, or like 1 point something Ethereum, or two Ethereum. And, a month from now, I go to sell it, and I can sell it for, all of a sudden it's worth 40,000, because there's only one of that particular picture that was on the blockchain. And the contract might read, oh, well, the person that created it is going to get their 20% cut of whatever you sell it for, which I'm all for. I think artists should be paid. I think artists are underpaid. And I think that it kind of bothers me a bit that, like, the way art generally works is like, hey, the art's worth nothing, or virtually nothing, until the artist passes away, and then there's only a limited amount, and it becomes collectible. But then, it's like, why not give some of that money to the family? Like, you sell that painting, or somebody else sells, that had bought it, sells it to someone else. Maybe the family should retain a portion of that money, and I mean, obviously I don't think it should be like 80%, but 40%, 30%, 25%, 15%, 10%. I mean, hell, if you're selling something for, $300 million, like, it, a 10%, like, to the family of the people who that painted it. I think it's important that some of that money go somewhere else than just other rich people who are just buying and selling these paintings for ridiculous amounts of money. So ultimately, NFTs, it's, I don't know if to me, I see it almost like gambling. So do it at your own risk, basically. Do it at your own risk. To see that is all the news that we have today. It was sort of, I appreciate you all watching. If you had any questions, business questions that you have, please drop them in the comments or in the chat. And I love the fact that I get to be here every single day with you, going through the news, relating it back to your business, and showing you, how you can make it better, right? How you can come up with other ideas, think outside the box. And that's what this is an exercise in every single day. I will be back on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, at least until we hit the daylight savings time switch over to standard time. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you